And you're welcome back. Abia, Imo, Yobe, and Zamfara and Plateau States borrowed to sustain their recurrent and capital expenditures. BudgIT disclosed this on Tuesday in its recently released State of State report. The report reveals that the combined internally generated revenue federation allocation and other fund sources in Abia, Imo, Yobe, Zamfara, and Plateau cannot sustain their recurrent expenditure. The situation is more problematic for Abia and Imo, which consistently receive 13% all derivatives. Rivers, Anambra, Lagos, Kaduna, Ebonyi top charts. To have this conversation with us this morning is Razaq Olokoba. He is a public affairs analyst. Good morning. Thank you for joining us, sir.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning, viewers at home.
All right. We're looking at the performance of these states as I have mentioned them earlier. Let us look at the best performing states, then we'll take it down to the worst performing states. And Lagos, Anambra, Kaduna, Ebonyi do top the charts as states that have done very well for themselves in the recent past. Why do you think these states do stand out, especially in a situation where everybody is complaining about even a global rise in inflation, and then bringing it home to the situation we're having to deal with as a country? But these states somehow have been able to navigate the situation, and they've continued to thrive.
Well, if you are a state and you have the capacity to see the future, your days will be good. And if you consistently plan for bad days, you will continue to have good days. We have emphasized it, and we knew it's going to come to this. That a time will come when federal government will not even be able to give state any money again. And they say maybe we are prophets of doom. And it's clear, when federal government continue to spoon feed the states, I don't see where that kind of model operates anywhere in the world. We must learn, states now must learn from the examples of Lagos, Anambra, and all the states that are doing well. They have taken steps to avert this kind of a crisis. It is what the federal government asks that the federal government will share among 36 states. What federal government don't have, they won't share it. And if you study the ecology of administration, public administration in Nigeria, you agree with me that challenges that confront government kept increasing on a daily basis, which means budget will be expanding year in, year out. And resources are getting minimal and getting reduced day in, day out. It's not a good picture for us. So the permanent institution in history has always been the people. The people must supervise the government. So every citizens in each state should wake up to this call now. You must be doing a rehearsal on how your state can stand on its own. If you are from Kwara, you are from Kogi, or anywhere, you must start talking to your governor that you must come out with a template on how there will be an economic reliance. The reality of what is called resource control is staring us in the face already, except you don't want to admit. For 8 years of Buhari, I'm a supporter, but for 8 years of his Buhari, the crime I will hold him responsible for is refusal to restructure the economic situation of this country in such a way that the state will begin to fend for itself. So the earlier we know this, the better. For the citizens, the complex situation character of Nigeria makes it more difficult for us. There's no path that leads us to where we are today that will not come with some difficulty and challenges. And that's what Nigerians don't want to hear. If you look at the numbers of items that you can import into Nigeria, it's going to add to our pain. There's no way out of it. The moment you keep exporting things, your pursuit for foreign currency to procure those items will keep increasing. And our naira will continue to be beaten. So it's the decision for Nigerians to make. Do we want to come out of it? do we want to tow this part? And towing this part in a short while, we'll get to a dead end. We'll get to a point where there will be no money anywhere to even fulfill any state again. So it is left for other states to do what those states that are doing well has done. It's left to them. Nobody will come and make money in his own state and give it to your state to run. Nobody will do that. In fact, there is no thing we consume in this country we don't have raw material for. Nothing we consume. But pay anything we consume. And one of those states you mentioned there is one of the states in the list of richest states in terms of resources. Why are we not looking in that direction? So we have to change our orientation, and we have to change the way we live our life. The way we live our life, where we think federal government is A to Z of everything, must change. You can't continue our life like that. There's no road to that direction we are facing. Any state that does not have the capacity, in fact, there's no state that will have the capacity to feed itself. No state. Because the states are becoming indulging to a point where some states don't even want to do anything except wait for the end of the month to collect allocation and begin to plan how to spend it.
All right. You did mention how that, states need to begin to look inwards. I do agree with you. But do you think that these states have the enabling environment to thrive with, knowing that Nigeria is grossly blessed with natural mineral resources? There is no state that doesn't have at least two, as naturally endowed with them, right? But what do you think is the reason these people are not able to harness these things, especially a state like Abia State that has so much. Abia State is housing one of the biggest international markets that we have in Nigeria and in West Africa. But our state has continued to lag behind. What problem is it? Is it a lack of political will, or lack of good leadership, or lack of what? What could it really be that has continued to drive these states who have been, at least that as part of the bottom in the list of things?
Well, first and foremost, like I said, there's no state in the country that does not have its own raw materials. The percentage of materials, raw material resources we have in Nigeria is above 4%. That's very huge. You know the number of countries in the world? Maybe close to 200. So Nigeria has over 4%. That is very huge. Which means that there's nothing wrong with us except that 195. Yeah, God bless you. Close to 200. So a country now has over 4% of the world resources. It's on the internet. You can Google it. So that is very huge. We don't have anything to do with poverty. We don't have anything to do with need and want. What I hold responsible, society stands on the system of government, the people, and the government. The system of government cannot guarantee us prosperity. There's nothing we can do about this. There's no way we are going with this political structure. And that is why citizens must rise up to the occasion that if you continue to blame your driver for your bad car, you are the bad manager. Repair your car. Don't keep, and that's a situation with us in Nigeria. The more we continue to blame Obasanjo, Jonathan, and Tinubu, the more we seem not to understand what we are doing. You handed over a rickety nation to a president. How do you expect him to run it? And the moment he emerges, you are not assertive. You don't affirm your position that as a supervisor, the citizens are supposed to supervise governance. You are not assertive that we are not going where with this structure. You just assume that a miracle will fall from heaven again. It can't fall from heaven. This structure is taking us nowhere. So the first thing is that the system is bad because institutions are the one that builds human being. You go to church, you go to mosque, I come out a better person. So when you have a weak institution, the way we have it in Nigeria again, it can't take us anywhere. It is the bane of our problem. So the political structure of this country needs to be urgently addressed. Then, top on the agenda, the people are not responsible for the bad policies, for bad governance, but we are responsible for not supervising our leadership correctly. Day in, day out, we put the easiest way out of our problem before the leadership. And it's a deception to ourselves. We either admit that we are in a mess, and if you want to go out of a mess, it's going to be an Herculean task. So, for the people, we need to admit that no matter alternative we are going to take on this matter, it's not going to be as easy as we want it. We have mentioned one about the product that are coming in and are going, maybe your news item also. Why must you still be importing things? Why? And if you don't import things, it comes with its own pains. Stop bringing in food. So for our own to get to a point where you have in mind, it's not going to be a day job. And the shortcut to development in the world today is no longer as long as it takes America. Japan suffered through atomic crisis, the Hiroshima and Nagasaki, and the recent one, the Fukushima. But due to Japan today, they took a shortcut to development. The life expectancy in Japan today is the best in the world. They have the highest quality of life. They don't even have any, they are not supposed to prosper. They're in the list of first-term economy in the world today. Japan made that list. So it's the decision of the people to be assertive to your government. And we are in it again. We are not giving direction to Tinubu again. All you are saying is that you should get, the guys in government don't get it right. It's you that will be assertive. It's you that point direction to them. And I have not missed my word on this matter. That there should be nobody that should be under the illusion that we are going to come out of our prime with this political structure. Nobody should be under that illusion. I voted for APC. I am going to support APC. But I'm going to repeat it as many times as I have the opportunity that this political structure can't take us anywhere. So
when you say the people
so we have to change the political structure. That's what you are doing this morning, bringing me here. So if you are on TV, if you are anywhere, the moment you miss the point by thinking that the president keep borrowing money, the president keep managing the country, and you don't quickly also add to it that the political structure is rickety and is responsible for the reason why our state will be continuing to be in that. If you don't do that, you are not doing service to us as a people and as Nigeria. So for the guys in government too, they tend to be carried away. Obama got carried away for the 8 years. Jonathan got carried away. I met President Jonathan. I'm saying it here now. I met President Jonathan 21 times. And on each occasion, I will repeat to him that all the prosperity anybody has acquired, and particularly your own people, with a single stroke of policy, is going to be reversed. And the case is what we are witnessing today for Jonathan. The same thing, Buhari. We were assertive that, and it took Buhari 7 years and 9 months for him to quickly remember what we were telling him that, something is wrong with political structure. Because the moment you start talking about political structure, they ascribe that you are in opposition. He said, okay, train should be devolved to state. Power sector should be devolved to state. So for the people, our guys in government, that is very important. They should not be getting carried away. And there should be public engagement. The military institution roll out policies and programs without consulting us. And that is the character and the attitude of the so-called Democrats in Nigeria today. The government of Obasanjo did not engage us. You thought he had the solution. The same thing for Jonathan, the same thing for Buhari. The current government today should not make that error. There should be engagement. We must define who we are. The people must be able to tell you the direction they want. And you must create that template for us. Obasanjo did it.
All right, now let me comment.
Jonathan did it with his own conference.
Let me butt in. Sorry about that. Let me butt in because you've spoken for a while. You see, there's nothing wrong in anybody expressing, a political leaning. You've just said it now that you voted for APC.
Yeah.
And of course, you are going to be in support of the party. There's no doubt about that. Now, in your early statement, because I'm going to still come back to that, in your early statement, you talked about the fact that no nation goes far once they keep being spoon-fed, especially at the state level. Then I understand that fact, and it's a given. Perfect. But then you also said resources are depleting. So we cannot go further with this kind of system. The resources of the state, when it has to be feeding the states, whereas they cannot look inward to be able to harness what they have.
I got a point.
I want to understand from you, my first question is, I want to understand from you what you mean by resources are depleting. Are you looking at just the mainstay, which is crude oil? Or are you looking at our current reserve when it comes to our what we have in the treasury, what we have in our foreign reserve? Or are you talking about the mineral resources? Because as we speak, Nigeria has about 44 mineral resources, which I doubt there's any country in the world that has that much. We have no business with poverty. We have no business with bad road when we have enough deposit of bitumen and other resources. And in your statement, you also said, excuse me, that there is nothing we consume, whether imported, that we do not have the material. So at what point are we having resources depleting? Are you contradicting yourself? I want you to clarify that. Secondly, you talked about the fact that several presidents have never engaged the people because they thought they had the idea all in their head. Now, are you saying that the current administration is engaging? If it's engaging, please tell me in what area it's engaging when it comes to policies that will affect the life of the average man. In the area, for instance, when it comes to the student loan. That's number one. And I'll still have other questions, but I don't want you to get lost in between. So just answer those two questions that I've just asked you first.
If I said that the resources are depleting, I don't know what context I've said it. Our resources is there. They're not tapping into it.
You said the state only waits until they receive allocation.
Yes, that's what I said.
So in what area are you saying that these resources are
I don't remind in what context I said. Our resources is there.
What resources are you looking at? Is it the mineral resources or the allocation they get from Abuja?
When I say allocation from Abuja, that's what I'm referring to. I didn't remember saying resources are depleting. I don't remember what context I said. But our resources are there. There's what is called tantalum. As small as this, it's $5. They are playing ball with you in the north. A ton of uranium in the world market today is $500,000. It's there. Nobody is except illegal miners. And that's the point I'm making, that if the government is not looking in that direction, the way Nigeria is structured, where federal government takes everything from the states, states will be denied the opportunity of controlling their resources. And that is number one problem we have in this country. And as long as it is the federal government that presides over everything, security, one IG will be the one that will give 250 million Nigerian security. INEC, it is the appointment of the governor and the federal government. We appoint you as my GG of election, and you want to train me on how to do my job. It's not possible. So, same thing for the resources. You collect resources, you collect oil from which is grossly unfair to the people of Nigeria Delta. You collect their oil, you share by 36 states of the federation. Then you now say I should come and become the governor of a state, and I should come and tell you how to spend the money. That's not critical thinking for governors. You are not generating your own money. You are spending other people's money. Generate your money if you want your own state. Spend your money in your own state. And that's the point I'm making. Now, for engagement, before we go far, any president I don't like, in terms of disagreement on objective issues like Obasanjo, not personal issues, I don't wish for him to fail. I will disagree with the 8 years of Obasanjo based on what he represents. So anybody that also don't like... So
you're saying in the entire 8 years of Obasanjo,
I'm not impressed.
There was nothing good he did.
I'm not impressed.
How about telecommunication?
That's what you are missing.
There was nothing good.
That's what you are missing. Can I give information? Can I give information about telecoms? Is no big deal.
It's no big deal.
It's not big deal. It's not big deal. It's not Obasanjo. It's not Obasanjo. Let me give you an information. That was the reason why Gaddafi was killed. That the European satellites was given to us, and we paid annually £400 million. Gaddafi came and stopped it and launched African satellites for $500 million. He put down $300 million. I'm saying it on here, you can Google it. $200 million were paid by the rest of Africans. Military government paid our own portion. But because the transition for Abacha between for military to Democrat took away his time. If you remember that time, in Cotonou, they were using GSM already that time. And people say, GSM, this and that. That was an OBJ coming. And you see, have knowledge has caused a lot of problem for young Nigerians. And for us that we are informed, we must learn to be able to give them correct information. So it's not BJ that brought GSMO. It's the collective effort of all Africans, which was Gaddafi was the chairman of AU that time.
Can you take Obasanjo out of the picture? That's what I'm saying. Can you take him out of the picture completely?
He's not responsible for that, and the reason why I held him responsible for that, I'm not being biased. I'm a Yoruba man like him now. The reason why I'm saying that is that the singular opportunity he had to restructure Nigeria at that very moment, we engaged Obasanjo. I'm one of the group that met Obasanjo 3 times, and we tried to educate him on the need for a restructuring. Now today Obasanjo is supporting restructuring, particularly on security. He said, there's need for police. Why must we waste our time for 8 years only to come out back and admit that, oh, you were right? That's not true for any leader. And that's on objective issues that I don't hate him personally. Now I'm coming to Ashwaju too. I'm in Tinubu too. The more people I see people trying to say, let's pull this guy down, the more, you know, I've just said about Obasanjo that no personal issues with him. We have to supervise our government. Either you vote for him, you don't vote for him. That 4 years, if he's there, if anything removes himself, he's our president too. And if you don't give him direction, we are not the one shooting. Anybody shooting in the assembly.
Are you the one to give him direction?
The people must give him direction. That's what we are doing here. I'm answering your question on creating a template for engagement. So, if the government is not engaging us, we must demand for engagement. That's what I'm saying. So the government must engage us. So and I'm telling the government
at
now.
At what point did Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu engage people when they kissed goodbye to fuel subsidy?
That is what I'm saying.
Not knowing the trickle effect it's going to have on the economy as much as education.
Are we talking about the engagement of subsidy?
Yes, it's on engagement.
I don't want us to.
It's engagement.
I don't want to just.
He just came out and made a pronouncement. So, was there any engagement? Based on what you just said.
Subsidy.
Was there any engagement before subsidy?
Subsidy on its own is an issue that will take
engagement? No, just answer that question.
Before Tinubu came there,
engagement.
Before you came there, no, don't use that language.
No, you said nothing good about Obasanjo.
Yes,
and you said it was objective.
Policies.
Let us put that same. Let us put that same.
You brought out GSM now. You brought out GSM now. You brought out GSM now. And I gave you the information. I said about the structuring.
Completely.
I said about the structuring.
Issue of Tinubu. Can we just have a conversation? Can we just have a conversation?
We really don't interject you now, so let me give you.
I will not interject you. Was there any engagement when Tinubu was inaugurated and came out and made a pronouncement that fuel subsidy is gone? Was there any engagement? Did you see the reaction? Please give me that answer.
We like it or not, before Tinubu came in, there was no money for him to sustain subsidy. You are aware of this. The budget of this year stopped making provision for subsidy
in June.
May, not June. May. No, sorry, June. And as at the time it was coming in, there's no financial institution that will not be wary to accede to any demand of a loan when your government is coming for the first time. And it's not the most correct moment for a president that the first thing I want to embark on is to go and borrow money. So, and you know very well that the subsidy money we are borrowing plus the money we are making in Nigeria to pay subsidy, you are aware of that. So, any government that is just coming in must quickly do what it did on subsidy. That's number one. Number two is that it is a universal thing in Nigeria. All of us admit that you are paying tax and paying tax. I will bring tax and it will end up in the private pocket of somebody. If there's anybody that is giving us a theory, I'm a fellow of Nigerian School of Management. I'm a chartered public administrator. If there's anybody that's bringing up a financial strategy that if you remove subsidy, life will be good for you, that person is deceiving. Let's subject you to debate. There's no how we are going to remove subsidy that has, because half of subsidy actually satisfy the need of Nigeria. The remaining goes to the private pocket. So the removal of subsidy will definitely affect us. So if you don't want, and that's part of I just
needed you to understand.
So and that's part of the thing I'm saying about Nigeria. That the Nigerians think we are going to come out of where we find ourselves.
I am not saying without delving, because my colleague is going to take up from that. I'm without delving away from the conversation.
Okay.
My reason of asking you that question was when it comes to engagement, it's absolutely apt. But my question is, was there any engagement prior to the pronouncement? There wasn't. But you're only giving me the understanding that the benefit of we kicking subsidy was good for us. No, you've answered it that there is no way an economy of Nigeria would thrive. I understand that part. I understand about there was no proud engagement. People needed to ask him a question: how would we be able to scale through if you make this pronouncement? He just went there and made the pronouncement.
The point of engagement.
Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes.
He just made the pronouncement, but there was no engagement from the people to say, okay, what plans do you have? Give us a roadmap.
Can I explain that? When campaigns were on for political class, APC, PDP, Labour, the major political parties that time, they were engaging the people.
The president was nowhere to be found. The president was nowhere to be found. He never engaged the people. Was there any town hall meeting he made himself available?
Tinubu didn't talk about the.
There was he never engaged the people.
No, he never said
a different town hall meeting.
Wait, he never. No, that's it. Out of numerous engagement platform, town hall meeting is just one of it. So if I didn't admit to your own definition of engagement, a standard you set for me, if I didn't admit, that means that doesn't mean that it's one of the numerous. It's one of the numerous method of engagement. So if I don't adopt it, you can't say that they didn't engage.
So why didn't you adopt
his policies? He rolled out his manifesto that time, and in his interviews, he mentioned that subsidy must go. Buhari says so, Atiku says so, Obi says so. So, and he knew very well that subsidy money in his domain is just for 1 month. He had to do it last time. Number two is that there's nobody that could have emphasized that. If I remove subsidy, these are the kind of challenges that will come with it. Nobody could have said it. And I said it, that once subsidy is removed, though, prepare your mind that the challenge that will come with it, none of us. So you can't be talking about solution for a problem that you don't know about. And that's about subsidy. And it comes back to the question of the structure that I'm talking about. That you will keep subsidizing. If you remove it, it creates crisis for us. Until we do what I said we should do. What should we do? There should be a reversal. When people control their own resources, all is in my domain. Kabal won't have access to my oil. All that belongs to people of Nigeria. I gave you a license, and you just tap all into it. You don't account to Nigerians, and that is the picture of life in Nigeria today. So instead of focusing, which is what the civil society are saying, that instead of all of us focusing every day in, day out, in telling when your car is bad, it's not about your driver again. It's about repair your car. Your tires are bad, your engines are not good. Don't keep blaming your driver. Repair your car. Then you will be able to engage your driver. But when the country has a rickety structure, and you expect your president to perform miracle, we have a problem as a people.
Talking about, okay, let us level the ground now. Where we started from is the performance of states and why it is at the point where it is. And we went on to establish how that some states have, envisaged the future and have been, disciplined enough to work with, say, long-term plans to bring them to where they are.
Don't indulge them.
Okay, but by the way, the point I'm trying to make is we are in a okay, I'm still on the point where we made some establishments, and one of the establishments you made is how that we cannot continue running the same system of government and expect a change. It won't work. Now, we already run this system of government. It hasn't really worked in the past 24 years. And we have a very close to brand new governments that we're still allowing to settle into office and get stuff done. The federal government has said that Nigeria is about to borrow some billions of dollars to the tune of $1.5 billion to support the national budget for 2024. We are living in a very excruciating economic situation. We don't produce as a nation. Our systems are not working. We have very strong individuals running weak institutions that, hasn't really been very progressive in a very long time. $1.5 billion. There is no blueprint. Even though we have in the news that it says this $1.5 billion is supposed to help support critical sectors such as education, agriculture, infrastructure, we have heard these before. at what point do you think that, you know, we'll begin to get it right? We borrowed this morning, it adds to the debt profile, which is already skyrocketed. I don't want to say skyrocketing, we're already at the skyrocket. Good. It adds to the debt profile. It's not the last time we're going to borrow. In fact, there is a lot of other billions, you know, out there that we're still asking for that might soon get approved, that will still add to the debt profile. How do we get to the point where we're able to start to look inwards? This, by the way, this whole conversation about looking inwards has gone on for a while. Some are members of the Parliament and the Senate over a couple of years has, you know, made this conversation. Former Deputy Senate President Ike Kweremadu has been harping on state policing. How all other members of the House has also been harping on, you know, regional government, and how that we've been there before, it worked. Why can't we take it back to that point? Which, in all fairness to you, is part of what you're talking about this morning. Do you see a will to kind of take a step back, a drive back, to get it right, starting from where we are now, since we have a fresh government, whom you claim listens and engages? Please, can we, on the platform of that engagement, take a step back to try and get it right?
First and foremost, let's explain to ourselves what capitalist economy is. A capitalist economy is a borrowing economy, because capitalism essentially is driven by the private sector, and government provides platform. What do we mean by platform? Platform is you must create an opportunity for the private to have access to resources. So government must do so much. We can't go into details now. And that's why you see many other countries in the world going borrowing. But not the way we are borrowing in Nigeria. There's a deviation. You can borrow money to, which is partly what they are trying to tell us, that if I don't borrow money to pay my children's school fees, and his mates get promoted, and I get the money maybe sometime later, God forbid, that child will be the class. So infrastructural development needs to tag along with what is the standard in the rest of the world, so that if you have infrastructure, someone will come to your country for a country. Infrastructure includes first-class policing, power sector, and issues, and that is what they are telling us. But I have a challenge with that, and that is why I say that we have sat down as people too much as Nigerians, thinking that someone is a career activist like us, that we should be the one talking to government. It's a joint venture, and we must not make that mistake with Tinubu's government. I met Tinubu in 1992. I met for the first time in 1994. I was one of them that contributed money to go and certify whether he actually finished his school or not. And that was why I had the confidence to say that he had a certificate. But that doesn't mean that I will not encourage Nigerians to be assertive when it comes to certain things. If Nigerians don't talk, they will borrow for the 480 as the case may be. And the challenge will keep having, will keep increasing. So it's for you and me to say that, of course, we know that there's no way out for you to borrow, But do you know why you kept borrowing? You kept borrowing because you rely solely on oil and gas. There are leading economies in the world today. Agro-allied, we have the capacity to do that. Telecoms may not be there. But oil aging, shipping, airline, mining, resources, why are we not looking in that direction? And if you say that, in our own mind, we must also know that the moment we want to start talking about solution, it's not a period for us to start smiling.
The system, sorry to cut you short, because we
borrow, that's summary. There's no way for this system not to borrow. And that is why I'm saying that we should not be debating whether they borrow. They will borrow.
Mr. Razaq, your point is clear and taken, right? But I want in 5 minutes, I want to just get another point from you. You did say that until Nigerians start to, you know, hold these people accountable and ask questions and assertive in your words, nothing would work. The system that we function in, do you think it gives Nigerians the liberty, the space, the wherewithal to ask these questions and be listened to? Yeah, that's my question. Do you think the system allows people to do that?
Why do you want to deceive Nigerians by not telling them that the power, that I said it, that the oldest institution, presidency come and go, parliament come and go, judiciary come and go. The oldest institution are the people. Don't tell people not to play their responsibility.
No, don't get me wrong.
By saying,
they want to gag social media. They are trying to regulate social media.
Please, Josh, hold on.
So you allow them to gag it?
The point I'm
you allow them to gag it?
It's the same administration.
They want to gag the social media.
The same administration is just
that's what I'm saying. Now, get my point.
No. Let's hold on to what we're talking about. The point is, I mentioned the system for a reason. People do not lack the knowledge of the fact that they are supposed to hold political office holders accountable. No, that is not the problem. The problem is the channels through which this information is supposed to get to the people that are to be held accountable are somewhat blocked because we have strong individuals controlling weak institutions. At what point do we have a turnaround? I am for strong institutions that would hold individuals accountable, but we have the reverse, and that has strongly affected the economy and Nigeria as a nation. Where do we get it right? How do we get it right? Because if the system remains as it is.
At the point when the government sees that we are not joking about the question of restructuring, and that's part of issues on TV every day, we keep majoring on minor. It spoke extensively about social media. See, those are part of the maladies of a weak institution. The fear that some people want to say something about what we are doing. That's part of the maladies. The signs that these are not working institutions. And I say that in spite of the fact that is the person I voted for. I have in my mind that if they don't restructure it, we are not going anywhere. And that's part of the reason I felt in part of the APC manifesto that because Tinubu has always been part of restructuring. That was part of what led to the fight between Lagos State government and federal government fund, local government fund that time. I had to create my local government, which is correct. It's part of restructuring we are talking about. So, see, Christ is not coming back to die on the cross for anybody. It's rapture when he comes. Muhammad is coming to fight, not trying to fight Jaffa. And that's the attitude with us. Look at Israel now. Israel is fighting his own battle. He is surrounded by Arabs. That's not topic for today. But what I'm saying in essence is that let us do the needful. I will not accept and agree with you that the people are doing enough.
We are engaging
the government. We are not doing enough.
Right.
And all institutions are also deviating. See, we must focus on the need for us to be vociferous now. The people guys in government will see the president only read 22 security report every day from army, from navy, from civil defense, from this ASU is coming again, NS is bringing his own again, economy is biting his own again. What time do you think you have to talk about our own foreign policy properly?
Exactly.
There will be no time for him.
Which also brings us to the conversation of the people he has in his cabinet and, you know, their qualifications and capacities. But that is conversation for another day. We have gone beyond our time, Razaq. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We really appreciate your time. iBrand Daybreak Thursday edition. More conversations will be coming your way after this quick timeout. Stay with us.